Welcome to Star Bios, the podcast where we delve into the fascinating lives of entertainment legends. I'm your host, Casey Gold, and today we're going to explore the captivating story of John Coltrane, a jazz icon whose legacy continues to inspire and influence musicians to this day. Born on September 23, 1926, in Hamlet, North Carolina, John Coltrane's early life was marked by tragedy, hardship, and a deep love for music that would eventually become his salvation. As we step into the world of John Coltrane's childhood, we find ourselves in the rural South of the 1930s, where the sounds of jazz, blues, and gospel music filled the air. His father, John Robert Coltrane, was a skilled tailor and amateur musician who introduced John to the world of music at a young age. The family lived in a small house on Hamlet Avenue, surrounded by the sights and sounds of a vibrant African-American community. Coltrane's mother, Alice Blair Coltrane, was a devout woman who sang in the church choir and encouraged her son's musical talents from an early age. Tragedy struck in 1939 when John Coltrane was just 13 years old, as his father passed away, leaving his mother to care for him alone. This devastating event would have a lasting impact on Coltrane's life and music, as he often drew upon the emotions and struggles of his childhood in his later work. Despite the challenges they faced, Alice Coltrane worked tirelessly to provide for her son, encouraging his musical talents and supporting his education. In 1943, at the age of 17, Coltrane moved to Philadelphia to study music at the Ornstein School of Music, a decision that marked the beginning of his journey as a professional musician. During his time in Philadelphia, Coltrane was exposed to a diverse range of musical influences, from jazz and blues to classical and gospel. He studied saxophone with Mike Guerra, a renowned musician and educator who helped him develop his unique sound. I've had the opportunity to speak with some of Coltrane's contemporaries, and they've shared with me that he was an intensely focused and driven individual, always striving to improve his craft and push the boundaries of what was possible on the saxophone. As we explore the early life of John Coltrane, it becomes clear that his experiences, from the tragic loss of his father to the vibrant musical landscape of his youth, laid the groundwork for his future success. The confluence of personal struggles, cultural influences, and artistic passions would ultimately shape the man and the musician he was destined to become. As Coltrane's skills on the saxophone continued to grow, he began to make a name for himself in the jazz scene, eventually catching the attention of Dizzy Gillespie. In 1949, at the age of 23, Coltrane joined Gillespie's band, marking the beginning of his career as a professional sideman. This experience would prove invaluable, as Coltrane was exposed to the complexities and nuances of jazz, honing his craft alongside some of the greatest musicians of the era. One notable example of Coltrane's growth during this period is his work on Gillespie's Burke's Works album, where he showcased his impressive technical skills and unique phrasing. As Coltrane himself once said, "I was trying to find my own voice, my own way of expressing myself through music." This sense of self-discovery would become a hallmark of his career, as he continually pushed the boundaries of what was possible on the saxophone. In 1955, Coltrane joined Miles Davis's legendary quintet, alongside pianist Red Garland, bassist Paul Chambers, and drummer Philly Joe Jones. This lineup would produce some of the most iconic recordings in jazz history, including Cookin' with the Miles Davis Quintet and Relaxin' with the Miles Davis Quintet. Coltrane's playing during this period was characterized by his intense passion and emotional depth, as he explored new sonic landscapes and expanded the possibilities of the saxophone. As we examine the creative breakthroughs and innovative collaborations that defined Coltrane's career, it becomes clear that his time with the Miles Davis Quintet was a pivotal moment in his development. The band's chemistry was undeniable, with each member pushing the others to new heights of creativity and experimentation. As Davis himself once noted, John was a very special person, and he had a very special way of playing. This sense of camaraderie and shared purpose would stay with Coltrane throughout his career, as he continued to seek out like-minded musicians who shared his passion for innovation and exploration. In addition to his work with the Miles Davis Quintet, Coltrane also began to explore other musical influences, including classical and avant-garde music. His interest in these genres was sparked by his friendship with composer and musician George Russell, who introduced him to the works of Stravinsky and Bartók. This exposure would later influence Coltrane's own compositions, as he incorporated elements of classical music into his jazz playing. As we continue to explore the remarkable journey of John Coltrane, it becomes clear that his early days as a sideman with Dizzy Gillespie and Miles Davis laid the groundwork for his future success. The confluence of personal struggles, cultural influences, and artistic passions would ultimately shape the man and the musician he was destined to become. In the early 1960s, Coltrane's music began to take on a more spiritual tone, reflecting his growing interest in Eastern philosophy and mysticism. This was evident in albums such as My Favorite Things and Louis, which featured extended improvisations and explorations of modal jazz. Coltrane's playing during this period was characterized by its intense passion and emotional depth, as he sought to convey the spiritual experiences that were increasingly guiding his life. One notable example of Coltrane's spiritual growth during this period is his iconic album, A Love Supreme, recorded in 1965. This album is a deeply personal and philosophical work, featuring 4 movements that reflect Coltrane's own spiritual journey. The album's title track, A Love Supreme, is a powerful expression of Coltrane's devotion to God, with its soaring saxophone melodies and intense rhythmic pulse. As Coltrane continued on his spiritual path, he began to explore new musical influences, including African and Indian music. His interest in these genres was sparked by his friendship with musicians such as Yusef Lateef and Ravi Shankar, who introduced him to the rich cultural heritage of their respective traditions. This exposure would later influence Coltrane's own compositions, as he incorporated elements of world music into his jazz playing. In addition to his spiritual growth, Coltrane's personal life was also undergoing significant changes during this period. In 1963, he married Alice MacLeod, a pianist and composer who shared his interest in spirituality and music. The couple had 3 children together, and their marriage would provide a stable foundation for Coltrane's life as he continued to explore the depths of his art. Tragically, Coltrane's life was cut short when he passed away on July 17, 1967, at the age of 40. His death was a devastating blow to the jazz world, and it marked the end of an era in American music. Despite his untimely passing, however, Coltrane's legacy continues to inspire generations of musicians and fans around the world. As we reflect on the life and career of John Coltrane, it becomes clear that his spiritual journey was a defining aspect of his art. From his early days as a sideman with Dizzy Gillespie to his later work with his own quartet, Coltrane's music was always guided by a deep sense of purpose and passion. His legacy serves as a powerful reminder of the transformative power of music and the impact that one person can have on the world. In conclusion, John Coltrane's later life was marked by a profound spiritual journey, which took him to new heights of creativity and self-discovery. Through his music, he continues to inspire us with his passion, dedication, and innovation. As we close this chapter on his life, we are reminded that the story of John Coltrane is one of transformation, transcendence, and the enduring power of art to touch our lives. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the captivating life of John Coltrane. That's all for today's Star Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm Casey Gold, reminding you to keep shooting for the stars.